All right. All right, just give me, gentlemen, just give me a moment while I'm taking attendance as I let brothers into the room. G, W. We have a good amount of people here, so it just takes a while to check each person in. And I'll give you an update as far as what we're doing today. We're almost there. We got like 6 more. That's interesting. Yeah. And I kind of go out of my way to not use guys' names since I'm streaming on my YouTube channel. So just to kind of keep as much of your information private, sensitive information as private as possible. You know, I can't stop everything, but I think that's this person. Okay. All right. So I got everybody in again. So general rule of thumb for my course, we are doing asynchronous. So the main thing that I request for each person is that you at least check in each day. And to check in, all you do is get into my Zoom, right? So every time we have a session, this is asynchronous. So all you really need to do is get attendance credit. You're not obligated to stay. I just need you to check in with me each day. I'm going to mute the audio for a moment while I give you guys updates. I'll be right back to the audio. Feel free to type your question or request into the chat, and I'll be checking that also. So this is the top of week 3. I haven't posted the quizzes yet. More than likely, hopefully I'll get those done by the end of the day and just go ahead and post all the quizzes for the semester. Basically, it's just a quiz a week. It's only like 5 questions. You get unlimited attempts. Let me let the student in. HIJK. He might be in the wrong class. I don't know who the student is. Yeah, because I'm not seeing him on my list. All right, I'm going to let him in for right now. All right, so the last person that I just let in, be sure, I don't have you on my roster. It's a gentleman whose initials are CL. I don't have you on my roster, so you want to be sure either that you're using your Morehouse name, like your student name, or you might want to contact the registrar because it's a gentleman I just let into the room. I don't have you on my roster, so I think it's a student. Yeah, so you might want to look into that. Either be sure to use your Morehouse name, and this goes across the board. Like, just go ahead and make your display name your student name. That makes it much easier on my part, because if I had to like search or guess, it's a good chance that I'll miss it, right? And so again, there's a gentleman I just let in whose initials are CL. I don't have you on my roster, so I just let you in just to kind of alert you of that. And I don't know if you're using like a nickname or something like that. So you might want to like either just contact me or contact the roster to contact the registrar to make sure that everything is in order. So there's only one person in here that didn't get didn't get attendance credit today just because they're not on my roster. Again, so let me make sure I'm streaming. It looks healthy. I can see the audio. I'm gonna check the chat in just a moment. So this is the top of week 3. I think we agreed that week 4 will have exam 1, right? So for exam 1, we can anticipate the first 3 sections. So sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. I know our record lectures are a little bit ahead, which I kind of did intentionally just so that we can stay on track. But you're only responsible for sections 1.1 to 1.3. Man, we have like so many students in here. It's not even funny. And I'm actually kind of grateful that we're remote because it's so much easier. To be in the presence of so many people is like overwhelming for somebody like me. I consider myself an empath, and I'm pretty sure that everybody is empathic. It just depends on if you decide to nurture that aspect of yourself or not. But I do consider myself an empath, and so in saying that, being in front of so many students at once it can be overwhelming. But I mean, I'm kind of getting used to it. But I prefer this. This is a lot easier for me to manage. So let's be on the lookout for exam 1 to become available next Wednesday. I might go ahead and make that by the end of the day, but you won't be able to access it until next Wednesday. So it'll be available from Wednesday to Sunday, and after Sunday you can still work on it with unlimited attempts, but it'll be a 10% late penalty. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that right there for right now. I would like to go ahead and post quizzes. I'll probably give you a little bit of extra time since I got the quizzes up kind of late, with no late penalty. But the homework is. I just want you to also be aware that all your homework for the semester is only 10% of your grade. All your quizzes for the semester is only 10% of your grade, right? The bulk of your grade comes from the online exams, the exams basically, your online exams and the final, right? So the exams that we do with the final, that's like, I want to say that's 80% of your grade, right? So just do the best you can with the homework. I don't want you stressing too much about what goes on with the homework. Just get it submitted. Stress about the exams though, right? And stress isn't the right connotation, but I do want you to put forth your best effort for the exams. These are still rather light because we're doing remote, so it is what it is. But yeah, so today what I wanted to do was kind of start making our way through the homework. So I was going to pull up like section 1.1 and just go through as many questions as I can. Now, if you guys want me to go over specific questions, the best practice is open up the question on Pearson and click on the Ask My Instructor, and then get my attention, and then I'll pull it up onto the tablet and we'll look at your question. We'll look at your question specifically. Ask My Instructor is best because it'll give me a screenshot of your very question. If I pull the question up on my own, it's going to be the same question with different numbers. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the chat because I know it's a lot of activity. Let me see what's going on here. So we do have class today. I was just running a little bit late. We're good. Yep, I see the never mind. We have a greetings to everyone. Let me see. Okay, so I know someone needs to discuss. Just kind of, well, I usually try to let you guys out at the 45-minute mark. So that should be enough time, like if we need to have a one-on-one question. Or you can do a direct message to me and that works as well. Yesterday, what is YT? Which video would this lesson be on YouTube? This lesson? Well, this is the first one. So like if we're working on the homework today, this comes from section 1.1, graphs of equations. They're pretty much in sequential order. Yeah, you're not obligated to stay once you get your attendance credit. Once you get into my Zoom, Aside from, there's only one person that didn't get attendance credit today. I need him to kind of like check in, and I need to know who he is. But other than that, um, everybody else got their attendance credit. Let me see. I'm trying to answer these questions. So okay, let me back up some more. Yeah. Okay. So I know we have at least one private session we need to do, and we can do it towards the end of class. So any assignment that I make available on Pearson, you honestly get unlimited attempts at it. Um, Generally, assignments are due Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Right? So like each week, you have a set of assignments. They're due the following Monday at 9 a.m. Past that deadline or whatever that the due date is, you still get unlimited attempts. You can still submit it with only a 10% late penalty. Even exams, like you can just keep working on them. So if you want to submit an exam late and get a 90, it's totally okay. You know, I've had students do that. I was like, okay, that works for me, and we can keep it moving, right? I know there's a private one. Yeah, if you feel okay. Now, one other warning I just want to kind of give you guys, like a lot of times with these early sessions, students kind of get lulled into a false sense of security, so then they kind of like start to not pay attention, and then especially once we hit chapter two, it seems like it just turns up, right? And then like 1 minute they're fine, and the next minute they're like, "What the f is going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I don't really recommend blanking out. If you can just kind of chill, you can, just be present for like 15 minutes. But again, it's not you're not obligated. That's just my recommendation. But you're an adult. Oh, so I do treat you guys like an adult, like adults, right? I know you're fresh out of, a lot of you guys are fresh out of high school, but you're out of high school, right? So I treat you like an adult. So I put the responsibility in your hands, and I just try to do what I need to do to be available. But if you want to make an adult decision, that's totally on you. You got to start making decisions for yourself sooner or later. So that's kind of how I run my courses. So, but that's the agreement. So if you just do the things I ask, you'll be fine. Okay. We got to check in. Cool beans. I got you, Mr. CL. Yeah, just like when you log out, just update your name, your display name, so that it shows your student name, and that way we won't have this like conversation again. But you got your attendance credit today, so I got your message. Okay, let me see. 1 second. So yeah, okay, yeah. If you're having trouble logging into Blackboard, you have to contact. You can send an email to service. Probably start at the register. I would start at the Morehouse register. Make sure everything is in order there. You can also send an email to I think it's services at morehouse.edu. Don't quote me on that, but that's basically the help desk, right? I think that's the email. So just reach out if you're having trouble connecting to Blackboard or anything of that nature. So with the homework extensions, you don't really need it. Like, just the best thing is just max out your score. Again, we get unlimited attempts. It's only a 10% late penalty. So if you really want an A on any late assignment, you just have to get a perfect score, and you'll get an A. Like, you'll get an A minus, right? And that's with honestly anything, all the way up until right. Everything is due right as the final exams hit, right? So you just want to get the stuff submitted. It's kind of like a default extension is kind of factored into the way I have things set up. A 10% difference on your homework is very, very small. So again, all the homework for the semester is only 10% of your grade, right? The main thing is get those exams in there. And even then, you still get unlimited attempts. And if you submit those late, you can still get an A, right? Yeah, right now, all of our exams will be on Pearson. Man, we are like chock full of questions today. It's all good though. All of our exams will be on Pearson. Exam two, I want to do some kind of oral exam for exam two, right? So exam one, it should be available next Wednesday to Sunday, and it'll be available next Wednesday and due Monday morning at 9 a.m. But you can still work on it past the deadline again, just with the 10% late penalty. Unlimited attempts on everything, and they are loving it. Okay. Okay, cool beans. Okay, so we're gonna let that be. I think the stream is healthy. I think we got through all the questions in the chat. I'm gonna leave the audio muted because that kind of helps me to focus. Attendance is like fantastic. You guys are on it, man. Like that actually, yeah. Just to check in is more than enough for what we're doing. And just be sure to get your questions answered. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and hop on over to Pearson, right? So my stream. So what I've been doing, what My intent with all the students today is basically get through as many of the homework questions as I can, right, pertaining to this exam. So like with my students earlier, we kind of worked through a few questions on section 1.1. So I'm going to try to target the ones that I did not do with them. If you guys request one, just get my attention. Click on the Ask My Instructor, which is here. You should be able to see my screen. If you click on Get More Help, Ask My Instructor, that'll send me a screenshot. You can do this anytime, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Also, we have the ebook here, right? This is the full textbook. It's just a digital version of the textbook. A lot of these questions have video tutorials. My recommendation as you work through these is to view an example. Help me solve this is fine. Yes, continue. Help me solve this is fine, but I think you don't get the credit for it. It does something weird with the points when you do help me solve this. My recommendation, if you get stuck on a question, click on the view an example, and then basically just match what they do and just update it with your numbers, right? That's all you really have to do. Okay. All right. So this is a great place to start. I'm gonna take some notes, and we're gonna, I feel like I'd be rapping. We're gonna jump back and forth between Pearson and my tablet, right? So right now, I know I'm showing Pearson, and let me take some notes. I'm gonna suppress this for right now. Okay, that's looking healthy. So this is question number 2. This is question number 2. And this question comes from section 1.1, question 5. Again, if you want me to go over a specific question, raise your hand, type in the chat, and make use of the Ask My Instructor, and we'll jump to that one. Okay. So this comes from section 1.1, question number 5. The question ID tells you where in the book it's coming from. It says, find the distance between these points, and then find the coordinates of the midpoint, all right? So part A, asks us to find the distance. Find the distance. Okay, I'm going to abbreviate. That's fine. And then part B asks us to find the midpoint. I'm going to say find midpoint. Okay. And then the points, point P is the point 1, 8. I'm just taking some notes and we'll hop over to the tablet. And then point Q is the point 1, 4. Okay. So now, if we hop here like this, and let me just check something that's looking healthy. Okay. All right, and the chat, I think the chat is looking good too, so I'm gonna keep it rolling. Okay. Find the distance. Okay, so we have these 2 points, right? I'm a fan, every time I get points like this, I just like to automatically, without any thought, just go x1, y1, x2, y2. Unless they're given labels, I just like to label them. So when I go to use my formulas, it's much easier for me to do my substitutions and keep track of everything. This is a game of organization. The more organized you can be, the better, all right? So since we're finding the distance, it's a good idea to use the distance formula. So that formula sheet that I suggested that you have in your notebooks, hopefully you have a homework notebook where every question, you're getting a copy of the original question, you're showing your support and work, you're boxing your final answer. You want to use, my suggestion is to use that format for every question that you come across, because what's going to happen is when you get on the exams or quizzes and things of that nature, if you have a neat, organized notebook, you can honestly flip straight to it. It's like, oh, we did that. And you basically do the same thing with different numbers, right? But if you're not organized, then you won't have that reference and it's going to be a lot harder on you. Okay, let me make sure the student got their credit. I see somebody coming in. MNOP, are you gonna, okay. I think they're good. Okay, I'm gonna let them in. I think they just got knocked off or something. Okay, so again, with this one, it is a good idea to just go ahead and use the distance formula, right? So the distance, and this should be in your formula sheet, the distance between 2 points is going to be the square root, let's see, x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. And we're taking the square root of all of that, right? Okay, so then let's just plug in. All right, so now that we have the proper formula, everything is labeled, we just plug in the corresponding components. So our x2 is 1 minus x1 is 1, so that one's straightforward. y2, this table is making so much noise. y2 is what, 4 minus y1 is 8, quantity squared, and we're taking the square root of all of that, okay? Okay, so it should be clear that that first term goes to 0, right? So 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 squared is 0, 4 minus 8 is what? Negative 4. So we're going to be doing negative 4 squared, right? Negative 4 squared. So negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. The square root of 16 is foul. If you hear me say foul like that, when I was in high school, what was his name? I think his name was Mr. Lagunju. He was from like Africa. I couldn't tell if he was just messing with us or if he really meant to say 4 like that. But in classes, he would say, well, everything else was normal. He would go like 1, 2, 3, foul. I'm like, 5. And I'm looking around. I'm like, does anybody else hear him saying this like this? I was like losing my mind, but it was so funny to me. So now whenever I'm doing math and I see the number 4, I always think of him. Because he said 4 with like so much umph and emphasis. And like, I'm like, why is he saying 4 like that? It still makes me laugh to this day. But yeah, so if you hear me say foul like that, that's where that comes from. Okay, so that looks good. Right, I think we're done with that. So we got the distance between these 2 points. So that was part A. Let me just go ahead and label this. This was part A. I'm going to keep moving. So the next part asks us to find the midpoint, right? So midpoint, I'm going to identify that as capital M. The way I remember midpoint, average of the x's, comma, average of the y's. Another thing, right? Especially on these days when we're doing the homeworks, this is a good time, like, this is just a good time to do your math homework, right? Like, so if you just do it now, since you're already scheduled for this time, just go ahead and do it. Do what you can right now. So the more you can get done now, the less you have to do later. You could be done and be doing whatever you want to do in your personal time, and all your stuff is done. But if you ignore it and like let it pile up, it can get bad real easy. So, you know, if I'm talking too much or too much nonsense, you can just be present, be working on your own homework, and just keep it moving. Like, it's totally okay. I just, just as long as you guys are practicing this stuff and progressing, growing, it's just all about growth. Okay, so let's fill this stuff in. X1, so basically we're doing what? 1 plus 1 over 2, comma, 8 plus 4. 8 plus 4 over 2, okay? So then 2 over 2 is 1, 12 over 2 is 6, and we're done, right? So there's that one. Easy peasy. Look at my kneesies. Fashizi, my yeezy. And then for the distance, we got 4. Okay. That's irritating, but that's okay. Come on, stop. Okay. We'll go with that. So let's submit this into Pearson and let's see how do we do. For Pearson, I think I need to do like this. Let me make sure that is showing properly. Okay, so the distance that we got a distance of 4. God is good. And then the coordinates of the midpoint, we got 1,6. 1,6. I think the chat is healthy. We're going to keep it moving. And again, I'm really trying to do the questions that I didn't do with the others. So that way, if you look at all the videos with all the students from today, you should get like just about all the homework, right? So that way, nothing really has to be omitted. Okay, this is question number 3. It comes from section 1.1, question number 11. Determine whether the 3 points are collinear. Let me take some notes and then we'll get the party started. So again, this is question number 3. This comes from section 1.1, question number 11. I'm going to write collinear and put a question mark. All right. So it's basically asking, are these 3 points collinear? And we have the point 0, -5. We have the point -3, -14. We have the point 2, 1. Right? And I'm just actually going to shrink these down. I know you can't see my tablet just yet. I just take some notes and then we'll hop over there. Okay, this looks good. So it's going to be this way and like this. And let me make sure it's showing. It looks good. I'll go with it. Okay. So collinear. Right, I think we mentioned this before, right? What does co mean? If you think about the prefix co, like if you have co-worker, I don't know, co-aligned. Co in this context means together or with or same, something like that. And linear, is like a line, right? So collinear means the same line, or are these together on the same line, right? So if we want to verify that these are together on the same line, or in other words, if they're collinear, it's a good idea to, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can go about this. I'm just going to mention one, right? I'm just going to mention one way. So I'm going to find the equation of the line through 2 points, through 2 of the points, and then verify that the third point is on that line. That's one way. I think there's another way. There's like this triangle inequality. I'm just going to kind of forego that one for right now, unless somebody requests it. So we want the equation of the line between 2 points. Now, just for the sake of ease, I'm going to choose the first point and the third point because they seem like the most simple numbers to deal with, right? So if I'm working with those 2 points, the first thing that we might want to find is the slope, right? So I'm going to go x1, y1, and I'm going to label this one as x2, y2, okay? So then the slope formula, change in y in this form over the change in x, all right? And this is a lowercase m for the slope, okay? So then our y2 in this context is going to be what? 1 minus a negative 5. Notice my use of parentheses. Whenever I have my negatives, I make sure that those negatives are inside of parentheses like this. x2 is 2 minus 0, right? On top, the double negative becomes positive, so that becomes 6. On bottom is a 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's the slope between these 2 points, right? Now, we could use point slope. There's nothing wrong with point slope. I feel like for most people, that's more complicated. So, I had students in the past, they, instead of using the point slope, they actually use the slope intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. And so when I thought about it and I kind of researched what they were suggesting, I looked at it, I was like, I actually like their technique better. So I'm going to forward to you what they shared with me. These are students that were just like you guys. Some of them realized this. They shared it with me. I thought about it. So now I use their technique. A lot of the techniques that I get that I'm sharing, I've actually gotten from students. Okay. So we have a slope. I'm going to plug. Actually, we already have the y-intercept. But anyway, for simplicity, I'm just going to go ahead and plug in that first point, right? So if I use the first point, our y is going to be negative 5. The slope is going to be 3. X is 0. Only thing we don't know is b. But notice 3 times 0 is 0. Right? So that means that our y-intercept, or our b, is negative 5. Right? We actually already had it. I just didn't acknowledge it until all the way at this point. So we have the slope, we have the y-intercept, so now we can plug it into the slope-intercept form. So that means the equation of the line through those 2 points is going to be y equals 3x minus 5, right? So then at this stage, we want to just verify that this is the equation. We just want to verify that all 3 of these points are on this line, right? So for instance, when x is 0, y should be negative 5. When x is 0, y should be negative 5. Notice, 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. So the first one checks out. I'm going to put a green check, so we've checked that one. The next one is when x is negative 3, y should be negative 14. Okay, let me write that one out. I'll put it in green so because you know I'm checking or confirming that these all work. So then our y is going to be equal to 3 times, and this is when x is what? Negative 3? Okay. So then 3 times negative 3 minus 5. What is that? Negative 9 minus 5 is negative 14. So that one checks out. Right? So then when x is 2, our y should be 1. So y is going to be equal to 3 times 2 minus 5, and that's going to be 6 minus 5, which is 1. So these are all, so with that, we now confirm that all 3 of these points are on the same line, right? Also, these notes that you see me writing, you should be able to access them on our Blackboard page. I'll make them available at the end of today's sessions, which is we only got like 15 minutes left in class. That's how quick, because of our limited time in class, the way I kind of talk and do things, this is why I do asynchronous. Okay, so let's hop back over to Pearson. So I mean, if we guess, we would have the 50-50 chance of it being right or wrong, right? But chance favors the prepared mind. So we're prepared. So we have the odds are forever in our favor. I feel like we just had a little bit of Hunger Games moment there. Not to show my age so much. Let me see the time. Just under 15 minutes. Okay, since I'm kind of doing this weird thing with time, I'm gonna go ahead and do this one as well. I'm gonna do it a little bit faster though. This is question number 4. This comes from section 1.1, question number 13. I'm just gonna say collinear, question mark. We have 0, -10, and we can use some inferences that we picked up from the last. Is this the same? I mean, you know what? I don't even think that. Yeah, let's just write it out. Let's write it out. I was gonna kind of try to jump the gun, but let's write it out because there might be something different that happens. We don't know until we do it. Okay, so I'm just taking notes. Let's hop over to the tablet. Okay, so we want to know if these 3 are collinear. Now, right off the rip, because of the last one, we can say the y-intercept, right? Because x is 0. So automatically we have that b equals -10, right? And we already have one of the points. So let me use a different point. Let me use that last point, right? So we have they gave us the y-intercept, and I'm going to use that 2, -6. And I'm going to just jump straight to y equals mx plus b, right? So if I'm using that last point, our y is -6. The slope, we don't know the slope. Can I do this? Let's keep going and see what happens. I've never done it this way, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. The x is what, 2? We don't know the slope, and the y-intercept is -10, all right? So there's only one part of this equation that we don't know, so let's solve for the missing piece, which is the slope. So what I'm going to do, add 10 on both sides, all right? Because the inverse operation of -10 is +10. And what we do on one side of the equal sign, we do on the other, right? So it's almost kind of like you're working on the left and right side of the equal sign. Let me do it like this. All right, you're working on the left and right side of the equal sign. Okay. So if we add that 10 on both sides, these cancel. 10 plus -6 is going to be 4. The equal sign comes down, and the 2m comes down, and the other thing goes to 0, right? What's the inverse operation of multiplication, right? If we have multiplication, let me make sure the student got their credit. If we have multiplication, the inverse operation of multiplication is division, right? Hopefully you were thinking division. So 4 divided by 2, long story short, the slope should be 2. So then if we plug these components in, our line should be y equals 2x minus 10. And we want to verify that these points, all 3 of these points work on this. They may or may not. We have to check. Let me give the student, let me see if the student got their credit. Now see, I really should not give him full credit, but I'm being kind of light. You guys, since we had the attendance is good, you guys got me in a good mood. I went on to give him his full credit for attendance, but he's like way past the 15-minute mark. But I could, it's not that serious, I just, again, I'm treating you guys like adults. Okay, so let's verify that these points work. So I'm just going to write check, right? For instance, when x is 0, the y should be -10. So our y is going to be 2 times 0 minus 10. That's -10. That one checks out. All right. So we got that one. When x is -3. So let's check when x is -3. Then our y is going to be 2 times -3 minus 10. It's going to be -6 minus 10, which is what, -16? And see, that one does not check out. That's a no. So we can stop right there. It says, are the points collinear? This would be a no. Again, if we were to just guess, we have a 50-50 chance, which is or decent odds. They're not the best odds, but again, chance favors the prepared mind. Okay. Let me make sure this is showing for people at home. So then the question is, are the points collinear? We're going to say no in this case. Okay. I think let's go ahead and hop to the next question. It seemed like there was some activity in the chat. So I'm going to see if I can get that to... hang on. I think it's like this. Maybe it's like this. There it is. Okay. No worries. Cool beans. It's okay. Yeah, so it's totally okay. Okay. So the chat looks okay. We got that one correct. We got just under 10 minutes remaining. All right. Okay. Let's keep going though. So this one, it says to identify the triangle as isosceles, equilateral, a right triangle, or scaling, right? So this one's kind of a pain. If we were in each other's presence, I would get like 3 volunteers to do this one. But things are the way they are, so we're gonna work with what we have. How is she? Anyway, it's basically asking what kind of triangle is formed from these 3 points. Okay, so let me take some notes and we're gonna hop back over to the tablet. Okay, it says unstable connection. That's okay. This is question number 5. This comes from section 1.1, question 15. I'm going to say what type of triangle, and I'm going to put a question mark. Okay, so point P is, this is going to be the last question for the day. 4, -3. Q is the ordered pair 9, 11. We are coming up on 9, 11. And R is going to be -1, -3. Okay, let's hop over to the tablet. That's not the tablet. Where's my tablet? Here it is. And let me make sure it's showing for people at home. It's looking healthy. Okay, I'll let that be. Okay. So what type of triangle, right? So I don't know if you've like thought about this one or seen it or anything, but with this one, basically it's asking, so if we have the different kind of triangles, I just wanted you to kind of think about it for a moment. So basically what this is saying is to ask us to find the distance between, basically find the distance between all the points, right? So we're going to use the distance formula. Let me start by writing the distance formula. So I'm going to write the distance. Let me just write the distance between 2 points, P and Q. X sub 2 minus x sub 1 quantity squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. Okay, that's the distance formula. All right. So then the distance between P and Q, I don't even know what I'm writing. The distance between P and Q, xy, xy. So I'm going to say 9 minus 4 squared plus 11 minus a -3 squared. Okay. Let's go ahead and find this number. 9 minus 4 is 5, squared is 25, plus double negative becomes positive. So 11 plus 3 is what? 14 squared? I don't know 14 squared. I know 13 squared is 169. I'm about to use my calculator. Let's just do it right here. 14, want to clear 14 times 14. 196. Oh, that's interesting. So 13 squared was 169. 14 squared was 196. That's interesting. Okay, so 196. So maybe I can remember that going forward. Okay. So subtract 4. So that would be, what, is that 121? Okay. So this looks like the square root of 121, which I think is 11. All right. Let me just kind of check some of my numbers. So 20, no, that's not right. That's totally not right. They can't be right. Let's back up. I think it's 221, right? Let me see. 25 plus 196. Yeah, 221. I don't think that's a perfect square. 221. All right. 4, 5. Yeah, I don't think that's a perfect square. Let me see. 15 squared would be 225. Let me see. 15 times 15 to 25. Yeah, okay. So this is like 14 point something. So we're going to leave it. Hopefully we didn't make any mistakes. Let me go back and check one more time. So PQ, 9 minus 4. That's what, 5? So that's 25. 11 minus a negative 3. So that's a 14 squared is 196. I think 221. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go with this. So we did PQ. Let's go ahead and do PR. So the distance between P and R. Let's see what they're talking about. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Yeah, let me try to wrap this up. So P and R. Okay. XY, XY. So we're going to say this negative 1 minus 4 quantity squared plus negative 3 minus negative 3 quantity squared. And we're taking the square root of all of that. Notice my use of parentheses around my negatives. Okay. A number minus itself goes to 0, so we know that this term on the right just goes to 0. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. Squared should be 25. Let me see. Square root of 25. So ultimately, that's just going to be 5. I'm still nervous about that other one. It just seems so weird. That's a 5. That's 14. Yeah. Let's keep going with it. Okay. So we got 5 for the distance between P and R. Oh, we could just count because they both have the same y value, so they should be stacked on top of each other, and they are separated by a distance of 5. That's cool. We did PQ, we did PR, so let's do QR. Let's find the distance between the QR code, QR, right? XY, XY. So then it should be negative 1 minus 9 quantity squared plus negative 3 minus 11 quantity squared. Okay. Okay. So negative 1 minus 9 is negative 10. So that's going to be 100 plus, that's what, negative 14. We said that was 196. So then that's what, 296. This looks scaling because not, okay. This is going to be the square root of 296. So all three distances are different, right? So we can at least say, well, we don't know if it's scaling. It could be a right triangle. So we need to verify that this is not a right triangle. The largest one looks like the third one that we did. That looks like the largest side. So let's just make sure this is not a right triangle, right? So for it to be a right triangle, it should be the case that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, okay? So I'm going to do the 5 squared plus square root of 221 squared. The question is, does that equal the square root of 296 squared? Okay, let's just see. So we get 25 plus 221. The question is, does that equal 296? I think that's a no, right? 246. Are we doing this right? 246 is not equal to 296. Okay. 14. Okay, so we got scaling, right? All the sides are different, and it's not a right triangle, so we got a result of scaling. We're gonna just try that. We're gonna hop back over to Pearson and submit scaling. Let me see. The chat looks okay. We got scaling, all different lengths. Hit enter. Cool. Is it a right triangle? No, because it did not satisfy a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, that was an adventure. Let me go to paper. Before I say anything else, let me go ahead and make a copy of our work available for you all. So I'm going to share and send this to Box. Answered homework questions, I'm going to drop it there. Okay. So if there aren't any burning questions, I'm actually going to let you guys go. I think that there was one student that needed to talk privately. I think that matter was resolved via the chat. So Yeah, guys, if you don't have any burning questions, I'll see you again on Wednesday. And be on the lookout. We're gonna have exam 1 to open up a week from this Wednesday. All right. Oh, and you're responsible for sections 1-1, 1-2, and 1-3. All right, guys. Take care. See you. See you in a couple of days, inshallah. Let me get rid of this.